Hi, I'm Phil, and in this video I'm going to show you what to do to stop your motorcycle battery going flat. Now, as bikers, we regularly use our bikes throughout the summer months, which ensures the battery is fully charged. But when it comes to autumn, and especially through winter, the bikes just really don't get used as much, unless of course you're using your bike to commute. Now, that's not doing your battery any favours at all. Slowly, the battery is losing its charge, and before you know it, you have a flat battery and your bike won't start. Now, the best way to keep your battery healthy and to stop it going flat is to use an optimizer, or a trickle charger as they're more commonly known. Now, I've been using an optimizer for years and I've never had a problem with my bike starting. And the great thing about them is they're really easy to fit and to use, even if you have no mechanical knowledge. Now, I won this optimizer in a competition thanks to Demon Tweaks. Now, although I've been using this one, I actually have another one as well. So I'm going to pass this on to one of my friends who recently passed a bike test and now has her own bike. So what exactly is in the box and how do you fit it to your bike? So you have the optimizer, and this particular model also comes with the wall bracket as well. There's a mains lead which plugs into the optimizer. There's a permanent connector which has this waterproof casing, a crocodile clip connector, and a user manual. Now, where exactly is the battery on your bike? You may find that it's actually under the rear seat, but on my Speed Triple it's actually hidden underneath this panel here, which I can easily remove just by taking out 3 fixings, which I'm going to do now. So here's the battery on my bike. Now, as you can see, there are already 3 leads connected to the terminals on the battery. Now, this is the existing optimizer lead that I've been using for the last 2 years, which I fitted when I bought the bike. Now, as you can see, with this waterproof connector here, the leads actually run through the frame, underneath the frame, to the negative terminal on the battery, and to the positive terminal on the battery. The other lead is the earth for my sat-nav. So what I'm going to do now, so you know exactly how to fix it to your battery, is I'm actually going to remove the connector that I've already installed. So to do that, I actually have to take the seat off on this bike to tilt the petrol tank forward. And that's only because I run the wire behind the battery to make that a little bit neater. So it sounds like a major job, it isn't, but you probably won't have to do that on your bike. I didn't really have to do it on this bike, but it just makes it a little bit neater, as I say. So now what I'm going to do is just remove the existing connectors and start all over again so you can see how it was wired up. Okay, so as you can now see, I've actually removed the old connector. This is for my sat-nav. With the positive of the battery, I've taken the lead off. So we're literally going to start right from the very beginning. So what I've got here is a brand new lead from the box, never been used. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually just take the ring connectors, which will be fixed to the battery, and just pass them through the frame. Now just find somewhere nice and neat on your bike. Just give those a little push and get to the other side. It's always difficult when you're trying to film because you keep finding you're standing in the wrong place, but no excuses. So there's the positive, the red, And in here is also the negative. So there we go. There we go. Positive and the negative, which are now nice and neatly through the frame. Now we've got to the fuse connector now, which is a little bit tight on this bike, and in the past a screwdriver has actually been used to lower that down, just to make that, give it a little bit of a gap. So I'm just going to get in the right position now so I don't damage the bike, and see what's going to be the best way to tackle that. So I'm actually going to disconnect the fuse, pull the glass fuse out, because that's just might make that a little bit easier actually. Okay, so that was a little bit tight, but as you can see now, the wires actually move quite freely through the frame. So what I'm going to do now is take the positive with the fuse holder, the red, it's got the plus symbol on there. That is literally, I'll try and keep out of the way, but that's going to go underneath the battery strap on my bike. Just find something that's nice and neat and out of the way. The fuse holder is actually going to sit underneath the strap, and then your ring connector goes on the red of the battery terminal. I've got my screw here, which just literally pushes down, locates in position. I've got a Phillips screwdriver, and yeah, let's do that like that. That's nice and neat. Now I can just tighten that up. There we go. Now we don't want to go too tight, but you don't want that to move either. So don't overdo it, but that's not going to move anywhere. Now I can just put my connector or rubber protector over the top of that terminal. Okay, all I need to do now is get my negative, the black, from the optimizer. And I mustn't forget that I've actually got my negative earth for my sat-nav, which I need to connect. But I'm just going to lift up the battery terminal, so I've noticed that's a little bit messy. So there we go. I'm going to run that over the top, like that. I'm going to put so my fingers are probably in the way of this at the moment, but it can't be helped. There we go. So I've got my negative ring connector from the optimizer, which is going onto the battery. And as I say, I've got my earth for my sat-nav as well. Oh, I need a screwdriver. I'm just going to start to fix that in position. Actually, on this side, away from the tank. Yeah, we'll do something like that, and then I can just tidy that end up in a moment. So now I'm just going to tighten that down so that doesn't move. It's not over tight. Now I'm just going to fix the cable tie around the battery terminal and my lead there. Just to stop that from moving around, basically. And snip that end off. So as you can see, that now looks nice and neat. All the cables are out the way, not interfering with anything, and that is job done. I just need to really put the tank back down in position and the seat, front cover. But before we do that, we're just going to test that it actually works. Now you may have noticed the sun's now popped out. It was absolutely freezing earlier on. But anyway, all I need to do now is take my optimizer. I've got the lead, which plugs into the waterproof casing. So all you need to do is just line those up, click that in position, as simple as that. Now, the optimizer, take your mains lead, and I've got an extension lead here. We'll just plug that in, and straight away you can see the optimizer is communicating with the battery. If it needs to charge, it will trickle power into the battery. It will just keep an eye on that all the time. If it needs topping up, it will top it up. If it doesn't, then it won't. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, then I'm sure you've recognised this bike, which belongs to my best friend Iliska, also known as Twinny. Now, it's a Triumph Street Triple 675 converted to R-Spec. Now, if you haven't seen the video, then please make sure you go and check that out. Now, the battery on this bike is actually located under the seat. So, how do we get to that? First off, you need the keys, and there's a lock under here, and literally it's as simple as that. And the battery is located here, which is really easy to get to. So what Iliska does, connect the black to the negative, take the positive, plus sign, to the positive, the red, and the battery, and then switch the optimizer on. But we are actually going to look at putting a permanent fixture onto there. Now, the user manual does actually say to locate the optimizer as far away from the battery as possible, as far as this lead will reach. Now, what I do is just place the optimizer on the floor, plug the mains into an extension lead and switch it on. Now, I should really point out that if your battery is in better days and it's on its last legs, then even by using an optimizer, it may not hold its charge. Now, I had this with my old Ford Popular. I had a battery on Trickle Charge, but the battery was pretty old and just didn't hold the charge. And the same thing happened with my riding buddy and bestie, Iliska, with her Street Triple. But once she bought a new battery and used the optimizer, it was fantastic. And as you can see, with the bike back together, once you've finished the ride, get your bike into the garage, just literally plug in the optimizer, switch it on the wall, and it's doing its job. You don't have to worry about having a flat battery. So if you've got any questions, then as always, please leave them in the comments below. And thanks as always for watching.